in the aftermath where you were driving home, I think it was about 4 months after seeing your mother, and I guess in the Hollywood kind of movie realm, you were your classical like banging the steering wheel, like screaming at in the car. But this is really a transitional moment, wasn't it, between when he took his life and then when you, I guess, was like, were like, I need to take action on this and actually do something to promote some good and I guess rewrite the history books and build a bit of purpose out of what had happened.
100%. Yeah, it was. I suppose the building of Say Chatty and the idea, it was probably a couple of months after Ty, and just sort of, it's just an ordinary time. Anyone listening to this and people that have been through a suicide or caring for someone with deep mental health issues, you know that it just is. I can't imagine that there's a lot worse in life. We were right in the middle of the grief and the sadness, and everyone was upset. And, it was just sort of, how do you ever move on? How do you ever live your life without him around? And you have those days where you just, it gets too much and people breaking down and you're trying to check in on each other and do your best you can, but you yourself are a mess and all those sorts of things. And yeah, I remember, I'd been thinking about it, like, what is it that we can do? I'd never accepted that Ty wasn't coming back, but in a roundabout way, he sort of had to, and was like, well, he's not coming back. What have we sort of learned here? This is and I suppose for me, when thinking that, I was like, well, I've learned that I could have probably done more, and I could have reached out to him a lot more, and I could have noticed that he wasn't right. And that was eating me up. But I thought, how can I put that into something positive? And yeah, I'd visited Mum, and we'd been out for a while, and yeah, she was a real mess. And I'd sort of left her in a really bad state at her place. She lived about 8 minutes from where we lived, and I was driving home. And yeah, as you said, it was like a movie where you're hitting the car and you're screaming and angry and just letting it out. You just got to let it out sometimes. And that was sort of the day where I got home and grabbed a pad and pen and just came up with the idea of a car sticker and this silly little logo that I knew would pay tribute to my little brother, but most importantly, I suppose it would start raising some awareness, because I suppose in that moment I created the sticker which paid tribute to my little brother, but in life I sort of made a deal with myself that I'm going to be vulnerable with strangers and everyone, and I'm going to really share this to the hills as to what's been going on and what we've learned, how I feel. And I think on the same night set up a Facebook page and just basically started blogging about life, how shit it was to not have a brother around. But at the end of it, it was always filled with positive messages about, make sure you check in on your loved ones and your family and your friends. And I just sort of really started to resonate with a lot of people here in Tassie, people reaching out saying, I'm so sorry for your loss, but because of your vulnerability and your sharing and your moments in time, we're now having chats around the dinner table and looking out for our kids a lot more, and we're thanking me for it. And, that was a really rewarding thing in life, because I'd worked hard and I'd played sport and had a lot of mates and stuff, but I'd never really stood for anything in life. I was a glazier, but I probably wasn't the greatest glazier going around. I'd good to roll some putty up the side of a window, but other than that, there was a lot of other things around the glazing aspect that I wasn't great at. And so it was really nice to be, being told that I was standing for something and that I was making a difference. And that was really addictive for me. It became addictive, but also, as well, as I said a moment ago, it was a way for me to grieve him, to hopefully make him proud and to carry him with me with all the work that I do. But the sticker really quickly is Speak Up, Say Chatty. It's a little pair of shorts. Ty loved wearing footy shorts. He'd wear them wherever he could. And it obviously incorporates his name, Ty, in the Chatty, which is capitalized. And the real reason behind shorts is Ty always wore footy shorts, but he'd always wear them without any undies everywhere. So there were a lot of awkward moments where we'd, tell him to put his feet down off the coffee table or things like that. So yeah, it was Tig was his nickname. He was a pretty well-known young fella, and his suicide certainly spread far and wide across the community. And so therefore there was already a really big audience there to be captivated by the opportunity to break down some barriers and to do something in his legacy. And it was sort of something very different here in Tasmania, particularly in the south. It sort of hadn't really been done before in terms of a 25-year-old male who played footy, you know, breaking down stigma and being vulnerable. And I suppose that was the biggest thing that connected with the Tasmanian community for them to stand up and take notice and support it.